Hi, my name is Jeff Fastbinder and I'm here at Aligh, and today we're unveiling the new T-Rex 100 V2. Many people will be interested in the new features that we have, and some of them are right in front of you here. So let me start off with the basics here. We have a new main shaft with a pass-through bolt, which is a little bit different than the V1. And basically what it is a bolt just basically goes through the main shaft. And there's two holes that you need to look for on the rotor head. One's small and one's big, obviously. The bolt passes through, the small bolt passes through the larger hole, and make sure that you get it right, because if you push it through on the top, I should say smaller side, what is going to happen, it wouldn't be tightening down the screw. So we'll go ahead and put that on the helicopter here, and you're going to want to look for that hole when you're inserting it on the main shaft. If it doesn't directly line up, what you want to do is move the lower gear until you see the hole there. And kind of hard to see, but what it is, you'll see light through that hole. And when you see light through that hole, then you know you have it aligned with the main shaft. We'll take the small screw and the included screwdriver that comes inside your kit, and we'll get this in here. Let's see if I can get it in. If you have big hands, just be patient, and you can get it in there. Just take your time. Let's see here. Okay. And if you do have any pliers or anything like that, for those of us who have larger hands, you can use that as well. Feel free to do that to make it a little bit easier on yourself. Right now I'm just screwing that screw in there. And make sure that it's not overly tight when you go in. Just screw that in there. And it just needs to pass through. It doesn't need to be like crimped down or anything. Just pass it through. If you're just starting out, there are 4 balls on the swash plate. For our purposes here today, we're going to use the inner hole. And the reason for doing that is for limited cyclic throw. What's cyclic throw? Cyclic throw is the amount of deflection within the flybar and rotor head system, and the lower ratio enables you to have a more pleasant experience when you're learning to fly helicopters, because there's a little less control authority there. Makes it a lot smoother too. Okay, right now I'm going to check the head, just looking at the head, make sure everything's good. Just spin it. Everything looks really nice. And so that's that part there. Okay, the other thing that I want to mention about the V2 as far as features, and there are a couple of them, is it does have a new longer boom, and this enables you to get a little bit more authority out of the tail. And it's not only cosmetic, but it also adds functionality. And we also have new tail blades that are optimized for the tail system, and it gives you a greater control authority. And for those of you who haven't seen our radio system, this is a 2.4 radio system, frequency hopping spread spectrum. And there also is a little display on here. When you advance this is your throttle. In mode 2 here, you can see the rotor blades spinning. That lets you know that you got power going to the motor there. You have a couple control functions here if you're new to RC. You have elevator, which controls aft and forward movements. You have aileron or cyclic, left and right. And then you also have the tail function, also known as rudder, and that is right, and this is left. So those are the basic functions there. Again, that's throttle on the rudder side there. We're gonna go ahead and do a bind. And so I'll shut this off, grab one of the included batteries. You get 2 batteries with your system. You plug that in down here. You're gonna have a flashing light down there. And then what you do is switch on your radio, second. And when you switch that on, basically what's gonna do is gonna link up, and once it goes solid, they're now bound. So it's now bound up. So now that you have it bound, it's ready to go, but let's take a look at a couple things here. Let's look at the swash plate. Let's make sure that it's level here. See how it tilts? That's what it does when you're first starting out for the first third of the throttle range. and as you advance to about half stick, then it goes level. This is to compensate for torque on takeoff. So if you're just learning, it's an added feature. It's a program mix to help you lift off the ground with added success there. Okay, and once I get to half throttle, the swash plate should be level. Make sure you look at that it is level. If it's not, what's going to happen is it's going to cause the helicopter to drift forward or aft or left or right. So we want to make sure that it is level. If it's not, it's very simple. We'll chop the throttle here. Prior to flight, you want to do this. Always take a look at this. But if you should happen to have one that's a little high or low, simply pop this off, this ball link. You just pop that off. It's not very hard. And then you can either go out or in. So in this case, I'm going to go out a turn, and then I'm going to pop that right back on. Let's see if you can see that there. We'll pop that in. And what that's done is help me to level the swash plate. So if you see that off, if you do see it off, make sure that you do this. That way you'll avoid having to use a whole lot of trim. Even though you do have trim features in the radio, this will enable your helicopter to fly level mechanically, and that's the best way to set it up. So let's check it out again. We're going to spool that up and make sure that it goes level. And it's looking pretty good right there. Hi, we're looking at the new Aligh V2 T-Rex 100, and we're taking a look at the radio and its features. Just like V1, it has the ability to move the gimbals from mode 1, mode 2, mode 3 capability. But in addition to that, we're able to actually adjust the stick tension on the flight control here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up right now, and we're going to get a look inside and see how easy it is to adjust the tension on the gimbals. Alright, once you remove the screws on the gimbals here, what you're going to want to do is just gently pull them out of the radio there. You can just set it down like that, and the gimbals come out. And once you look at the back of the gimbal, what's new here is you'll notice this screw here. And this screw, when it comes from the factory, is fully tightened, so it's very rigid, the stick, the feel. But if you want to make it a little looser, to have a little bit less of a high tension stick movement, you just screw that back ever so slightly there, and what that does is soften the feel, gives you a little bit crisper response. And for those of you who do fly, feel more like the radio that you're currently flying now. For those of you that are learning though, we do recommend the harder tension due to the fact that it holds that stick center and it enables you to know where the center of the stick is. Once you're done adjusting your tension, you just simply put that back in the radio. Simple as that. Same for on the throttle rudder side here. You can do the same thing. You simply adjust that. Again, just back it out. And once you back that out, you just put it back in your radio and put your screws back in here. And now you've adjusted the stick tension of your radio. So this is a new feature for the V2, and enables you to customize your radio for the comfort and the type of feel that you want in your radio system. Hi, we're talking about the T-Rex 100 V2 here, and we're discussing some of the new features. One of the new features is gain control. This is a new feature to the V2, which enables us to control the sensitivity of the tail, and we're going to show you how that's done today. So right now what we're going to do is we're going to bind the helicopter. We'll simply insert the battery. What you're going to see is a red LED flashing at the bottom of the helicopter. Once it goes solid, then you know it's linked. And so I'm going to switch on your radio here right now. And once it's linked up, it'll go solid. And now the swash plate is working and functioning. If it should not bind up for some reason, you won't have this ability to move the swash plate. But it is bound and ready to fly actually. As far as the controls, again, if you're new to helicopters, we have aileron, which tilts it left and or right. And then we also have fore and aft or elevator control, and that pitches the helicopter forward or backwards. Then we have throttle control on this side, which controls altitude, which is this right here. Another thing you want to look at is a swash plate here. If you're just starting out again, a swash plate does tilt. And what that does, that right tilt, that right deflection of the swash plate for the first third of the throttle stick helps you when you're lifting off the ground. So the helicopter doesn't torque to the left. As you move to half throttle, it goes level. And that's to help you get off the ground and get into a normal stationary hover. Once you're in hover, again, the swash plate is level. So that is a mix that is designed to help you get into the air safely. So there we go, tilts to the right, and we go to half stick, level swash plate. So let's put this in the air, the T-Rex 100, and let's check it out. We're gonna put this in the air, we're gonna check out the tail. Oh, I should get my towel out of the way. Let's lift that off here. And let's listen to that tail there. We're gonna do some simple little turns here and see how it's locking. Seems to be locking pretty good. But let's say you want it to lock even harder. Or let's say it was wagging and you wanted to turn it down. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually go into the gain compensation mode. And how do you do that? You can leave your battery in your helicopter, you switch off your radio here, you hold down the aileron elevator function, you switch on your radio, and you notice you heard the audible beep. That sound signifies that you're in gain control adjustment function here. And if you look at the display here, you notice that only that trim setting is active right now. And when you move it to the right, that increases gain. And when you move it to the left, it decreases gain. So I'm gonna go ahead and move this to the right, and we're gonna fly it like that, and we're gonna listen for the tail to see how the tail sounds. And if it's too high to gain, you're gonna hear a slight, it's gonna, like a buzzing sound going back and forth, high and low. And let's check it out. I can adjust that while I'm flying too. So if you feel comfortable adjusting it while you're flying, you can move this trim while in flight as well. So we're gonna go ahead and lift off here. And I don't know if you can hear that. Let me put it right there in front of you so you can see it. But the tail is kind of, it's a wah 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 sound. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the trim while I fly it here. There we go. Take that down a little bit more. And you can adjust that while you're flying. Again, if you're not comfortable with making trim adjustments while flying, simply land the helicopter, move the trim here. Again, it's on the rudder function, but right now, again, we're in the gain control adjustment menu, and we can move that however we like. So right now I've lessened it. I've taken it a little bit past half to the left there. Now we'll lift off again here. Take a look at that. Now we really don't have any buzzing sound or anything going on like that, so I think we're really close to where we want to be. So now that it's landed, what I'm going to do is take us out of gain compensation. And just like we got in, same thing is going to happen. We're going to leave the battery in the helicopter, we're going to switch off the radio, but instead of holding those two trims here, we're just going to leave those alone, switch back on. And once we go back on here, we should be ready to fly. And now we're in normal or conventional helicopter flying mode here. And this trim here is now the rudder trim. So I'll show that, I'll lift off here, and I'll show you that the trim's active. And let me go ahead and do some trim on purpose. And you notice the tail slowly moving there. Alright, so that's just letting you know that the rudder trim is active now, so you know we're doing that. And then I'll trim it out. You can see that there. Okay. Nice and locked in, the tail's not buzzing or anything like that. So if you're looking to get started and you're looking for a new helicopter, or you're just looking to get into helicopters, the T-Rex 100 V2 offers you a great many new features to help you successfully get into helicopters. And I hope that you look at your local retailer, ask them for Aligh and the T-Rex 100 V2. Thank you. Hi, my name is Jeff Fassbinder, and I'm here at Aligh Corporation, and we're talking about the T-Rex 100 and post-crash inspection. If you should have a crash and crash your helicopter either into a wall or a table or something like that, there are a couple things you're going to want to look at. So, for instance, if you take off and your helicopter falls over like this, whoa, well, there's a crash for you. If your helicopter does crash and fall down, prior to flying it, you're going to want to check a few things. First and important thing here is the rotor head. And how you check that is very simply, you can hold the helicopter in your hand, and there's a main gear down here. You're going to want to spin that rotor head and check to make sure that this is running without any wobbles or any vibration. Make sure that that main shaft is basically bend free, which it is. The other thing you want to check also is the tail. The tail, if you were to bump into a tail or should I say a chair or a wall or something like that, you can bend this shaft. So in order to check that, what you want to do is just basically spool up the head. We check the head, and now we're also looking at the tail here. We're checking if there's any vibration. If there's vibration in the tail, there may be a need to either change the motor and or the tail blades. If you do bump into the wall on the main rotor blades, we do have spares available, but you want to make sure, if you do crash into the wall and there is a tear or nick or anything like that, that you get one of those replacements that we have for the rotor blades. This is to ensure that you have smooth flight performance with your T-Rex 100, and also enable your helicopter to fly stable. So we're going to check it out. We did just fall off the table there, just so you can see that. It is a very durable product, but by the same token, if there are damage, if there's vibration, it's best that you go to your local retailer and get those parts in order to optimize the performance of your T-Rex 100. There's another thing that can happen too when you crash, and that is the canopy. And we've gotten some questions from a lot of people online via Facebook or our online website, and that is, they've cracked their canopy and they ask us basically, well, should I replace it? And the answer is yes. The reason you want to replace it is because that if it's torn or cracked, what will happen is it'll start wobbling, with the some of the resonance within the main gear here like that, and it'll induce a vibration. Very slight, but what that'll do is degrade the performance of the tail rotor system, and so you're going to want to make sure that you just go ahead and get another canopy for it. It'll look beautiful, and your helicopter will fly a lot smoother for it. So I'm going to go ahead and put it down here after falling off the table there so you can see how durable it is. And we're going to go ahead and fly this. So if you're just looking to get started, you got a relatively small area to fly in. It's a great helicopter. You can fly it indoors. Just getting acquainted with the movements of cyclic and the throttle, which is a fixed pitch at the moment here. And even after we've had a little incident there, it still flies very well. So again, you can find this at your local retailer. This is the T-Rex 100. You get anywhere from 5 to 6 minutes with the full charged battery, and it's a great little helicopter to learn on. Make sure you check us out. We'll land right here. T-Rex 100. Look for it in your local retailers.